Okay, hi there, I'm back. Another video of a new video on the power of PowerShell, better quality. And let me size it up immediately, by the way. That should be fine, yes. Okay, let's go to the demo. Today, it's a remake of my first video I made in the bad quality. And it will be about collecting data from multiple systems again. It will be a PowerShell script. We're going to loop through a list of servers from an input, from a text file. Then we collect some information about the operating system from the BIOS. We collect the status of one server, and we collect the value from a file on that remote system, right? Some value, I don't know what yet, we see. We store the output in an array. We're going to play a little bit with that output, filtering and such, and then we save it to a CSV file, so you can open it with Excel, for instance, or email it to somebody, to someone. Yeah, so that's it. So let's go. We're going to collect data from multiple systems. So first we set up like an array that we have like the multiple systems in an array. So I will do that now. And perhaps the nice thing that I do in this demo is I do it from my workgroup based machine, right? I'm sitting just on my desktop here, I have my Visual Studio open and such. And I'm remoting out to systems. Those are domain joined. So we need some credentials as well in place. So that's a little bit of an extra challenge even. So it will be fun, I guess. Let's start with the input file again. So inside of this folder, we're going to create a new file, new item, call it servers.txt. Then we open that in Visual Code. Then we stick in some names. DSC, I think it's 11 this time. DSC 12. I have some servers for testing here. Yeah, let's save that. We can leave it open, by the way. Now go to the demo.ps1 and then we get the content of that file. And first we set like the current working directory inside of a variable. I can do it in one line, of course, but that probably makes it unreadable, so I'm trying to be as simple as I can. So we do like a split path on the I think it's MyInvocation.Definition, something like that. I'm not sure. I think it's that. And I run the script after this, just see, just testing if we have like the current working directory here. You see, down, D, Git, PowerShell demo 1, so that's the current working directory, so that's fine. So now we can basically go to that servers file that is there as well, right? If I can type again, and then we do like a get content on that. And I press F8 here, let's see if we get something back. You see the server list there, it's nicely formatted. We store that. So you call that servers equals that, right? And now we do a for each loop for each server in servers, right? And then we open and close that guy, new line. Then we have the server to play with. Fair enough. Now we run the script again, just to see if we have some nice output. I'm going to clear the screen as well, CLS, press F5 inside of my Visual Studio. You see, and it runs. I run it again, and now we have like those 3 servers to play with. Just do like a simple command here. Let's see if we have like a connectivity to the system, I honestly don't know. So we can do if I can type again, test-connection. I think we can stick that server in there. Just like that. Like that. And I think we can do a count. We do a count 1. And now we just run the script to see if we have like connectivity to all the systems, Let's see. Let me get back. And it looks pretty good. Got some responses there. So we should be able to play with those systems. But if I, for instance, now go to one of those systems and get the servers there, I probably get an access denied because I'm doing that for my workgroup machine. So I'm going to check that. Minus ComputerName, and we stick in the server name, and we do like a name of the service as well. Bits, good old bits. Want to verify if we can actually reach out to that remote machine, and if we get an error. I pressed F9 there, so notice this red thing. That means that the debugger will kick in as soon as that line hits. So that's now, right? And now I press F10 to go one line further. And now we got an error, cannot find the name with blah 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 blah, so its object could not be found. So that's interesting. I'm gonna do a Shift F5 to stop the debugger. right? And I remove this bits because perhaps it doesn't exist on that system. I honestly don't know. So I just get all the services now from that system. I think we should get an error. Not sure. Let's see. Press F5 again. And I press F10 again on the breakpoint. And we got an error. This might require other privileges. You see, cannot open the service control manager on DSC, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and I'm honestly not sure if we can use credentials here. So let's see. No, it looks like we're stuck here, but we're not, of course. It's PowerShell. We can work around it. So what we do then is go sort of a level up. And we do like an invoke-command. Invoke-command. Minus ComputerName. We stick in that server name again. And then we do like a ScriptBlock. A ScriptBlock can contain a whole bunch of lines. Doesn't matter. That for the sake I do this. So you know that you can use multiple lines there, right? It's really a script that you can put inside. You can also first create a script block, like this for instance. Script block, open, close, type all your code in there. I will need to assign it, of course, that way. And then use that here inside, you know, as a script block. And then you can do, for instance, $SB, and then you can remove this stuff, these open and closings. I will do it inline. I'll remove that, make it more clear. And what are we going to do? We still want to do that get service on that same computer, right? But now we don't need to stick in the computer name, because with the invoke command, we're already reaching out to that system. And then inside of that system, it's a local command. So basically you can just do get service there. We don't need that whole computer name. And just see what we get, because I think we still get an error, right? We didn't provide any credentials for the invoke command. So I'm going to do that immediately. So what I do here is minus credential. And for now we do like a get credential. Doesn't matter for now, right? We do that inline, right? It prompts us inside of that loop for that credential. That's fine for now. We're going to store that later. And I press the, I won't press anything. I will do there debug line on 9 on the test connection. So we do like once and then we stop. I don't want to provide the credentials all the time. We're going to store them later. So I'm going to show you how it works. Now we run the script with F5 again. And it asks me for a user. Hey, and that's good because I have not there. I need to stick it in here. You see below, it's asking me for input, and that's the get credential object. And now I do a get a user home mark. So that's my domain user credentials. And it asks me for a password. I stick in my magic password. And let's see if we get something back, actually services from that system. Take some time, and you see, got something back. And that's pretty nice. You see also here, it's on the remote server. So we already succeeded this step. So I'm gonna do a shift F5 again to stop the debugger. And now we move those credentials up. You know, you want to specify them once. So I call them now domain credentials. And of course you can do this. I made other videos how you can get credentials from, so create them from secure content. That's not for now, otherwise this script will be way too complex to comprehend. So we do like a get credential here. And what we do here is if you run the script, we ask for that domain credential, we prompt the user, give your credentials, you give that in, and then it will be stuck into this variable. And we can use that variable then there for the invoke command. And what we did now, we asked the credential only once. And we can loop all those domain joined servers with the same credentials, because it makes no sense to ask it every time here, of course, right? So now I'm going to remove this line. I'm going to comment that one out. I'll remove this empty line for the sake of real estate. I'm saving the script now with Control S. You never see me anything doing on the menus. And I press F5 now to run the script, and let's see if we get like services back from a couple of servers, right? And of course our magic user again, so that's I don't need to type it there. Don't know why I do that every time. So that's home mark. I stick in my magic password, and now it reaches out to all the systems. You see, it already got some, and that's the second one, second server, and the third server. So now we had content back from 3 servers. And if you don't believe me, I honestly have a lot of servers, by the way, but you see I really have DSC 11, 12, and 13. And the nice thing is, you see that's a 2008 machine, that's a 2012 machine, and that's a 2019 machine, I think, of 2006, I'm not sure. Let's see, we open that guy. You see, that's a pretty new operating system. This guy is a little older, that's 2012 R2. See, and those are all domain joins, and we're now sitting here on the system on a work group and reaching out to these guys. Okay, enough talking. We need to collect some information on that system. What we basically need to do now is, inside of the script block, combine all that information we want and then give that back to the caller, right? And the caller is the invoke command. That's the guy calling inside and expect some results back. I'm going to simplify this a lot, so we're going to do the minus name, or I think it's DisplayName, perhaps bits or something like that, background intelligence. Yeah, I think something like that. That would work better than we only get like one result back. And this is the caller, so for now we call it service. It will be an object later, but for now we call it the service. And what we're now doing there, reaching out to that remote system, getting that only that one service with those credentials and stick it inside of this variable. And then we need to put that on the screen, right? Otherwise we don't see what's inside of it, right? And it's just hidden. And now we run this again and see if we get like 3 services back, right? Background intelligence service for each of those systems. Let's try F5. User again. Yeah, I need to specify that, and it's pretty stupid of me. I will show you a trick for this, by the way, because it's already in memory. And it will stay in memory as well, as long as you have, now you know my password as well, it doesn't matter, everything is shielded here, it's just a test environment. You see, now we got the background intelligence service information back from 3 systems, right? So now if we want to combine information, we could get something else here as well, right? Just for the demo purposes, let's get the process there. Get the process, I think it's a name. Let's see what we have like for default processes running on Windows. Let's get an example here. Live demoing. Let's see. Bash code, CSS, desktop Windows Manager. Now that won't be running most probably. Let's see. SVC host is always running, of course. We can try that. So get the process. SVC host, and let's see if we get something back inside of that service object. Then we do the again. I didn't provide the credentials. I forgot it. Again, next time we run the script, I'll show you the trick I meant. Okay, we got some information back there, so that's cool. That's cool. The trick I meant is that, like, once you run this command, it's inside of memory in your editor, in your Visual Studio, until you exit it. So what you can do is remove that, for instance. And it's not totally, yeah, I think it's true. Let's see. And then we get to the DomainCreds here, and that should be still there, you see? It's still usable. So if we now run the script again, I'm going to do that. And I remove this process for now. It only spoils the output. We fix that later, of course, the output. You see? It's nicely formatted. It's not asking me for the credentials again. I can do that once, right? And now I can run it over and over again with those credentials, which are already stored in memory. Okay. So let's go back to the slides here a little bit. So we already created the PowerShell script. We already created a sort of loop. We are already busy in that loop doing some input. And we need to collect something of the operating system and the BIOS. Just let's start with those 2 ones, and we can make it as complex as we like. You know, we can build it up. So we collect first some operating system information. Right? So this server stuff, we comment that out for now. Perhaps I move it down for now with, I'm holding Alt, by the way. I have several lines selected, Alt, and then with the arrows, you can move those lines inside and, you see, up and down. You can replace whole blocks there, and single lines as well. Alt, left Alt, and with the arrows, you see, you can change the order. That's a nice little trick. I run the script again with the domain credentials already in memory, so it should work. Yes, fair enough. We didn't got anything back, of course, because we emptied the script block. So now we store the operating system. We do that with doing a Get-WmiObject, and it's the Win32 I mean, operating system, I think. And then we select the caption from that. Select caption. That's like the title of the operating system. And we stick that out on the screen, so to speak. That's the output we give back to this service. And it doesn't make any sense anymore. We just call it OBJ from object, right? And then we echo that there to the screen. We output it to the screen. It's not an echo. It's outputting. So let's see. Yeah, fair enough. So we got now the caption back, you see. We have different operating system types there. So we have now that operating system to play with. No, okay, nice. What else did we need? The BIOS as well. So we store that as well. So we just do a little copy and pasting there, because I think the BIOS also has a caption property. So let's see, and we only output the BIOS for now. Just to make it a little bit, to see what we play with. The operating system already works. We know that. We see the right value there. Now we check the BIOS. No, fair enough. Seems to be working as well. So we already have those in memory, right? So we leave those guys alone for now. We'll play with them later. We're going to use some properties of those guys. We already have one property, by the way, the caption, so we can use it immediately. Let's go back to here. So we collected the BIOS. We need to collect the status of one service. Okay, I think we can move this guy back up, right? I'm holding left Alt and I'm pressing my arrows. No mouse needed. Then I go to the home and I press delete. No mouse to go to the beginning of the line. And we stick this inside of servers. And we verify it again. It's always just verify what you're doing. If you make an error, it's easy to spot if you make one change. If you make like a million changes inside of your code and you run it and it doesn't work anymore, good luck finding out which error. It can be tricky, trust me on that. So just always build up. So now we're going to see if there's anything inside of this service object as well. Right? Then we have already 3 conditions there inside of that loop. Now we do that. Now let's see if we get something back for the service. I hope so. Yeah. So we also have 3 service objects to play with now. And we leave that guy alone. Now we go back to here. Just show you the technique I would use to construct these kinds of scripts. It's really simple. I can make it a little bit nicer still to create a separate function and then call that function and then give all this information back. But that's way too much for now. Okay. And we need to collect one value from a file. And we're going to cheat there a little bit. We're first going to create a file there. Now, just in the first loop, we remove this later, and we call it C, and it's an important file, important.txt. Yes, and then we do some, this is, if I can type, this is some magic line, okay? And we pipe that to set content, and then we stick in that important file. I'll remove it later, but I think if we do this, we have like now 3 important files on that system, and we can get some magic line out of there. And we're going to do it a little bit more interesting. We're going to inject dynamically the computer name. So the env, if I can type again, env computer name. So let's see if that works. So now in this important file will be this is some magic, and then the computer line from that remote system is every time that will be dynamic, based on the server name you're connecting to, will be inside of that file. I think so. I'm just typing, I'm not preparing anything for these kinds of demos. I do it for so long already. So let's run this again. Let's see if we get like a new file on the other servers everywhere. See some important stuff there. Oh, we need to specify a type still. I forgot that. So we're breaking this off here. Hang on. Yes. I think we need to specify item type file, right? I'm making mistakes as well. But let's see if the guy on the other side now understands what we want. So we run this again. Okay, we have some files there. And now we remove those lines because those files are already in place. And now we do here a get content of that file, right? Then we can really see if we created that with some code now on the fly. So we get the content of that important file. And I saw one error on the first system, so I'm not sure if that already existed. You know, we'll see. We'll see. Press F5, and we'll see if we get something back. You see, this is some magic line from 11, from 12, and from 13. So this is now useless. We don't need this now. We don't need these guys anymore. We already created that file, right? So create some real estate here. We remove this test connection. It's only rubbish. Let's see. We're here now. Let's see. The demo. Collect one value from a file. Oh, yeah, we need to collect a value from a file. And what kind of value? This is some magic. And then with the server name. Let's try to get that value. Right? So we do that and we pipe that to select string. And we put in that. And let's see if we get something back. Honestly, don't know. I'm just also trying an SLS, by the way. It's a shortcut for select string. You see that? I'm using an alias here because of the real estate a little bit. That's an alias for select string. So inside of this file, I get the content remotely and I try to do some selecting of that sort of grep, PowerShell grep, right? Just see it that way. Grep is for Linux, of course. SLS is not recognized as an. Oh, that's a nice one. I need to inspect that guy a little bit. Hang on. No, okay, sorry, I was disturbed a little bit. I'm back. So we get the content. Select string doesn't work there, by the way. So we stick that in a we call it file content. I don't care. Stick it in there, and then we echo when you do something with the file content, and we check if it contains the computer name, right? Because we want to see if that value is present. Computer name. That returns a true or false. So this is, we can stick this all inside of one line, by the way. If you want to see how that works, then we do like that. And we stick this behind that. And then we have like a result here. A file result, we call it. Right? That will be true or false. If it contains the value or not. Let's see, so we have now the servers, the BIOS, the OS, and the file result now, so some content from that file. And so that's the last line here, the last, you see there, last sort of mission or step. And here we see the content of those files, right? And we're going to check if the server name is inside of those lines. So we should get true back, I think. Let's see. Is it running? Did I run it? I'm not sure, by the way, if I pressed it. I'll clear the screen, by the way, just to create some real estate. Yeah, I saw 3 trues there, by the way. I scrolled down accidentally. I run it again. True, true, true. Okay. If I now go to one of those systems, and let's see if I can do that remotely to the C drive, it will probably prompt me for credentials. Yes. See, I'm on my workgroup machine. You guys don't see that now, but it doesn't matter. I'm reaching now out to that remote system. I'm there now on that remote system, and on the 11 we're going to do some tricky stuff. We remove the computer name there, so this guy should now return false if we constructed our code correct, of course. So now we should have one false as well. Let's see, we run this again, the whole script, and we should expect one false and 2 should be true. Let's see if that's the case. True, true. Okay, so we have now everything that we have like in this step. Did not meant to do that. So we have everything now inside of our, you see, in our script block here, still our script block here we're running, multiple lines. Now we have all those things in place, and basically we need to combine them. And I'll already teach you how you do that. You create like a property of, I always call it props equals, and then you open it with these brackets and you close it, and now you can give it names. So for instance, OS equals os dot caption. No, it's not even needed, it's already there. So, and the BIOS equals BIOS, right? And the service equals, and what did we do with the service? We got everything back, so we do only the service.status then, service.status, because that's a property of the service and we don't need the dollar there. And we have like the file results, file results, if I can type again, equals file results. And now we can output that whole object, new object, PS object, minus property, props. And then you stick inside, you see, you stick this guy now inside of this new object, and we return that again to this color, right? This OBJ, that OBJ receives it now, and it should output it to our screen. So we should get some, I hope we get some useful information back. Perhaps I made a mistake. Probably, most probably. Let's see, press F5. Okay, did not expect that, but that's pretty good. It already works. I just want to do one thing, because I see here, for instance, you see it looks like not nicely formatted like that. You see that @ sign, you know, that @ sign means that you need to expand this property first. And at least that's what I think that it means. So let's try that and see if we get like a different output here for the BIOS and OS without the @ sign and with the curly brackets. Yeah. So I do Control S, not there by the way, there, and I press F5, run the script. Let's see if we get, you see, that's nicer output. Okay, fair enough. We have a pretty nice concept up and running. Couple of lines of code, doing remoting with domain credentials from a workgroup machine, you know, all kind of complicated stuff. And we're getting really user information back, right? And the user imagination, you can stick all kinds of stuff in here, just add a property here with the name, and you have it in your output, right? And that output we're going to play with later, you know, we're going to filter and export that to files and such. You can email it. We're not there yet. Now we go back to the demo. Now we store the output in an array. Store the output in an array. Go back to here. You already saw me this doing like a million times. Output, add, need to assign it of course, right? So now we have an array, not an hash table, but an array to play with. What we do here, we add that object here to the array. So we do, how did we call it? Output, I think it's plus equals, and then we can stick that guy in there. And now in the end, we should have some output to play with. And I press the debugger there. I always like that. Don't know why, but it's just the way it is. Okay, I'll run the script again. See if we have some output to play with. And we now are here at the debugging stage, and I just like to watch what sign of the output now. Put it to a grid view for the sake of that looks pretty nice. Let's see. You see, it's not very big. Let's see if I can scale that up. Yeah, I think yes, I can scale this up. You see, so we have a pretty nice overview now back. You know, on this computer name, we can remove the run space. We're going to remove the run space ID even. A pretty nice result here, right? Now we go back to the demo. And we had some output there. We're not really satisfied, right? We already saw that we want to like select name, and I think it was PS computer name. Let's see what we more have for other properties. Let's see. I can check that inside of this guy, you know, just look inside of the first one. We have the BIOS, OS, file, results, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, that's it, because we don't want the run space ID back. Let's see if we run this. It's cleaner. Yeah, it is cleaner, but the name is now empty. So I did something wrong there. That's obvious. So let's look back in the output here. Output 0, for instance, what I did wrong. and it is PS computer name, and the name is empty. That's interesting. Let's see. Of course, we didn't provide a name yet. We need to do that. Yeah, so name is not the valid value, but PS computer name is, BIOS is, OS is, file resource is, and service. That was the one I forgot. Service. I was looking at the presentation on the other side. So that's the guy we forgot, I think. Let's see. Yes. So now we have the computer name, we have the BIOS, we have the operating system, we have the file resource, you know, if it contains that file name, true or false, and we have like the service status, if it stopped or started. So let's go back to the demo. We can play a little bit with the output. Yeah, we can play a little bit with the output, but we already did that. So we save it now to a CSV file, Rich. And I have an example here already, and I'm going to show you one because the video crashed, so I'm appending this guy now. So if I remove this export and I run this again, I'll show you the output. So now we have it in a CSV file. If you open it, it looks nicely, but you have like on top here the system management automation PS custom object title. You can remove that by no type information. Now we run that again. Let's go back to that Excel, this guy. And let's share that as well, otherwise you won't see that, of course. I need to share that Excel as well. So this is now how it looks, right? It looks pretty neat. All the information here with some nice headers, you see? Nice headers there. With the information of each system. You see the file resource, server status, operating system, and the BIOS. And then I have one more, because I did not show that. Go back to the demo, and now without this type information, because you did not see that example, I did not share that screen, so I'll do that again. We can now go back to the PowerShell demo here. Yes, hang on. Yeah, back at the folder, and now if I open that Excel, and I'll show that on the screen in a second, you see, you will see this header, this custom, you see this guy, this custom automation up your object. You can remove it, of course, but I showed you when you do no type information, then that header is removed from the CSV file. One time to the demo, save the output, play, store, array. Let's see if we got everything, the BIOS. Yeah, fair enough. Pretty simple script. 25 lines. If it's still a nice output, you know, if you have like 100 servers inside of the text file, you have like an overview of 100 servers, 1,000, you know, so it's pretty powerful. Okay, so that was it for this first remake on PowerShell in action, or the power of PowerShell, I mean. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.